Hello, my name is Celeste, aka Willow. This is my very first vlog. I've never vlogged or blogged or anything like that. I have Facebook. That's about it. I'm lucky I even have a YouTube right now. Sorry, I've got hair on my screen. Ugh. Sorry guys. My daughter gave me her cold. So a little bit about me. Well, I have 2 kids. I'm 25 years old. I have my 6-year-old and my 2-year-old. They're my loves. I love my babies, and they love me. So, I guess for this video, being my first video, I guess I will just kind of rant on about myself. So, again, I'm 25 years old. I live in Spokane, Washington. I would rather be in Billings, where I was born, but I'm stuck here. So, I was 5 years old. So 20 years ago, I had a stroke. I had a dog. I got a puppy for my birthday, and I honestly don't remember. I remember the puppy's name was Soxers. I don't remember if it was a boy or a girl. I honestly don't remember anything before my stroke. So, yeah, you can tell how much brain damage has been done. So my right carotid artery, which then gave me blood clots to this side of my brain. And this part right here, from what I am told by my neurologist, right here is where there's the part that controls your left side, and vice versa on the right. Makes no sense to me, but okay. So I have 3 decently sized black holes in my brain from where it was damaged. I was bit by my dog, unfortunately. And, well, the dog was taken care of. Not the way I wanted it to be taken care of, but I was 5, so I had no say in it. And my parents were pissed, so to be perfectly honest, I kind of see why they did it, but I just feel that they could have done it in a better way. Anyway, they told my parents in the hospital that I would not walk. I would be wheelchair bound for the rest of my life, that I have absolutely no use of my my left side. I have no use of my left arm. I have very little use of my left leg. I still, as you can see, tend to lose control of my face down here, and my eye will kind of twitch sometimes. The Shriners Hospital took me. There's a combination between the Shriners Hospital and my parents as to, I'm not sure. As to give kudos, I guess. Props to both the Shriners and my parents. I love my parents very much. They made me who I am. They taught me right from wrong. I was spanked as a child. I was majorly disciplined. But I was also pushed. I wasn't babied. I wasn't one of those where the parents, oh no, your kid's gonna be disabled for the rest of their lives, and then all of a sudden you just give up and say, oh, well, I guess this is just what we're going to have to deal with, and there's nothing we can do about it. When, quite honestly, there's something that can be done about it, and this is what my parents did for me after my stroke, and I was told that I was not going to walk again. That I would be wheelchair bound for the rest of my life. My parents, they weren't going to have that. I walked out of the hospital. You know, they pushed me and they pushed me and they told me the 3 words that, you know, every child should ever hear from their parents when they're struggling or they're having a hard time. And that is, you can do it. Okay, that's 4 words. Don't judge me. You can do it. You can do it. I know you can do it. You know, I grew up branding cows, riding horses, living on big plots of land. I lived my life like a normal person. At least I felt like a normal person. I'm not, you know, at this stage in my life, I know that I'm not normal. I know that there are always going to be my hard days, and there are always going to be those easy days, and there's always going to be problems in the future because of the amount of damage that was done to my brain. My dad told me that when he saw me in the hospital right after my stroke that I was only talking out of one side of my face, could only see out of one of my eyes. I had lost all complete nerve damage to the entire side of my face. It's pretty much my entire side. Left side. The Shriners, I also give very high props to. You know, if it weren't for them, you know, I probably wouldn't be walking. I would not have ran track. I would not have been able to do a lot of the things that I did because without the surgeries that I had on my legs and on my leg and my arm that I needed, because those were done, I am able to live and function the way I need to live. No, I grew up. My mom and my stepdad would always take me to church. We moved here to Spokane from Billings after my stroke, and then my mom met my evil stepdad. And, I totally lost my train of thought. I guess this is what happens when you vlog with a cold and... The Shriners Hospital. There we go. Brief pause. Sorry. The Shriners Hospital, they did the surgeries. They did a bone rotation and a bunch of tendon releases in my legs. Made it a lot easier for me to walk. And I mean a lot. I remember how hard it was for me to walk and how painful it was sometimes to walk, and still is. But now I can walk with less pain, and it was for the surgeries. They had the tendon releases were down in my calf. The rotation of my femur was obviously up here. They broke my femur in half, and they rotated the bone so that my foot would come out, because I walk pigeon-toed in my left foot. But they rotated that bone to make the foot come out. And then they placed it and bolted it and did what they needed to do. That was probably the worst surgery ever. I mean, like, ever. I mean, the other ones were simple compared to that one. That one was like a 5-hour surgery and a 3-week recovery. I had like physical therapy for years afterwards. But, you know, I did it. They took the plate out when I was 18. Just before my 18th birthday. So they also worked on my hand. They did a little bit of tendon releases in my hand. You can somewhat see that scar right there. I have a lump in my hand right here now. That was a huge tendon release and that was another one of those major surgeries that took a long time to recover from. I was bullied through school. I mean, all the way through school. I was bullied up until probably my senior year when I finally got a backbone and told people to leave me the fuck alone. I got into one fight in school. One fight. That was in middle school, and the girl that I beat the living hell out of, her and I are actually best friends right now. We're best friends now. She's got her own little 2-year-old, and he's just the sweetest thing in the world. She was having a rough day, and she decided to take it out on me and my disability, and I had already a lot of people coming down on me and picking on me and pissing me off because I wasn't normal. I had my hair pulled on the school bus. I had notes taped to my back. All those stupid... I wasn't a nerd by any means. I barely scrounged by high school. I was different. But, the schools never did anything. And now I'm seeing kids that are actually getting beat to death because the schools aren't doing anything about bullying. And now I'm going to go on to a huge rampage about bullying, so just bear with me. I heard a story about somebody out in, I think it was Cheney or Colbert, one of the two over here close to Spokane. The kid had been beaten up by 2 other kids and bruises everywhere, and he looked horrible. I was so upset when I saw him. And I come to find out that the school board did nothing. They suspended them. That's all they did. They suspended them. You know what? You know what I feel suspension is? Suspension is just another get out, so you don't have to take care of the damn kids. You suspend them from school, and nowadays you really think their parents are going to discipline them at home? And even then, with the generation that we have now, you really think they're going to stay home? Suspension, out of school suspension, should be banned. Expulsion should not be banned. But it needs to be taken a little bit more seriously. In school suspension or ISS, my son has had ISS probably 6 times this year. He's in friggin' kindergarten. In school suspension, detention, or whatever you want to call it, that's probably the best that you're going to be able to get. If you want those kids to listen, you need to keep them in school. Why take away their education to punish them? That's not a punishment. That's a freaking, privilege. So when you suspend the kids, the kids come back to school and think, oh, hey, all I have to do is get suspended and then I don't have to fucking be here no more. And it irks me. And now the bullies are only getting suspensions, even there was an incident at Riverside High School out in Elk, or Chatteray, which is where I went to school. That's where I graduated. That's where I went for most of my life. I went to Riverside High School and Riverside Elementary and Riverside Middle School. I watched a video just a few years ago of two kids fighting on the playground. One of the kids was actually autistic. This was in the middle school playground at Riverside High School. I was pissed because there was no supervision out there. That is my school. That is where I graduated from. You know, it makes you sick. And then all of a sudden you can hear over the freaking phone his freaking face crack. The kid hit the autistic boy and was making fun of him, and you know, it breaks your heart. I believe McCoy actually expelled those kids. He was my principal there, and currently he's still principal there. So, Mr. McCoy, I believe, expelled those children. However, with expulsion, there should be a little more discipline because, again, taking your kids out of school is not a punishment. That is a privilege. And when you're punishing somebody, the privileges should be taken away, not regained. So, I believe that with bullying and even cyberbullying, any sort of bullying, you know, there needs to be some legal action going on. I went through school, a whole bunch of bullies. I was lucky enough that after we all grew up and we all got out of high school, most of those bullies are now friends. I talked to a lot of them. I mean, the one that I got into a fight with, my first and my only fight. Oh, no, it wasn't. I put her head through a locker. She pissed me off. She continued to bully me and make fun of me, and you know, nothing was being done about it. Nobody would help me. Nobody cared, except for my mom, my dad, and my aunt. Now, mind you, my aunt is not my aunt. She's a friend of the family's, but she is my aunt. I consider her my aunt. I love her as my aunt. She has known me since just after my stroke. She's been with me. She did something about it. She went to the school and she got pissed off. And when I came home and I told her that some girl was pulling my hair on the bus on the way home, she had me tell her who she was, and I did, and we knew where she lived. We also knew where her friend lived, who was also on the bus pulling my hair and picking on me. My Aunt Terry, she took me to their houses. She pulled them and their parents out of the house and told them what had happened. She made the kids apologize to me. Did it make my life any easier? Not particularly. But it's still extremely appreciated. You know, she put up an effort. She did everything she could to help me. And she did give me a little more confidence. And she still does. She still gives me confidence in everything. So, off of the bullying rant, I'll go on to another little something about me. I grew up with a very abusive stepdad and a very abusive stepbrother. I was very depressed in high school. I'm very depressed now. I'm on medication for it. And After high school, well, my mom finally left my stepdad for the second time. He divorced her, or she divorced him. We moved back to Montana, and I went to school for a little while there, and then my mom and I moved back over here just before my senior year. So I went through my senior year here out in Chattaroy. It wasn't the school I wanted to go to. It wasn't the school I wanted to graduate from, but I graduated. I have my diploma. I'm happy. I'm proud. I'm in college. So, my senior year, I started dating a 15-year-old. Stupid. Once I turned 18, he was already 16, and there was nothing that anybody could do about it. You know, his parents knew and approved of it. My mom knew and approved of it. And I wound up pregnant in high school. I also wound up losing it. It sucked, but life happens, and there's really nothing you can do about it, especially when you aren't even aware that you're even pregnant yet. You know, when I was pregnant with my son, I was 11 weeks. It was 11 weeks along, and I didn't even know. I had no clue. I had no symptoms. I didn't know. So, straight after high school, I moved in with my boyfriend and his parents. That turned out to be a very difficult situation. Especially when I found out I was pregnant, not even 3 months later. I moved out of my mom's house, or out of Ben's house, and in with my mom again when I was about 16 weeks pregnant. I was scared. I wanted my mom. It was seriously one of those I want my mommy moments. I needed my mom. I needed the encouragement. I needed the I can. I was getting ready to set up for adoption for him. I don't believe in abortion. No matter the circumstances. It's wrong. Because my son's dad was over 16, he was considered legally able to be a dad. I guess you could say. I guess you're legal to be a dad at any age, but he could legally get custody. He can legally say that I cannot adopt out my kid. Now, mind you, I'm supposed to have 2 from this pregnancy. I miscarried my son's twin just before I found out I was pregnant. I actually went into the hospital, and they had told me that you're miscarrying, and we're sorry, but we didn't know. And I didn't know. Ben didn't know. His parents didn't know. Nobody knew. I go back into the hospital 2 weeks later because I was hurting. I couldn't stand up. I was hurting so bad. My abdomen was just killing me. I go in and they say, well, you've got 3 ovarian cysts in one ovary and 4 in the other. And so here I am thinking, awesome. I get to go see a gynecologist, and I get to get my tubes tied. This sucks. Because I wanted kids in the future. I didn't necessarily want them right now, or right then, but I I couldn't turn it down. I can't do it. I can't. And I advise anybody who is considering adoption for their child or unborn child or anything, I do recommend it. If you feel that you are not capable of taking care of that child on your own and giving that child the best in life that you can possibly give him, then by all means, please give that child to somebody who can't have children. If this is what you really feel you need to do, then this is what you need to do. I'm not against adoption. I'm against abortion, but I'm not against adoption. And actually, I really highly encourage adoption for those who feel that they can't do it. That they can't provide a safe and sturdy life for their child. So when I went to go get an ultrasound by a gynecologist to see what needed to be done, see what the ovaries looked like, because I had to have an internal ultrasound. Well, I go in there, and I'm sitting there, and they're doing their thing, getting their little ultrasound done, and she's taking pictures, and she's kind of sitting on her table like this going, oh my goodness. And she goes, so your ovaries look fine, but you're pregnant. And she turns the monitor, and I see the baby about that big, and you can already see his legs and his arms, and he kind of moving a little bit. I freaked out. I completely freaked out. I was 18 years old. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know how to raise my own kid. But I stuck to my guns. And although people said I couldn't do it, that I wouldn't be able to do it because I'm one-handed, and because with my scoliosis, I wouldn't... They tried to tell me that I wasn't going to be able to carry him without any complications. To be quite honest, there were no real complications with him. I had Braxton Hicks several times, and it sucked, and he was a huge kid. Excuse me. But, I did it. He's, after a year after he was born, I stayed with his dad. And I stayed through the abuse, just trying to get through the 18 years I needed. Well, I didn't even make it a year. And finally I decided that, if I'm not healthy, my son's not healthy. So, the day I decided to leave Ben, my son's dad, he called the cops on me. He told the cops that I threw a dresser drawer at his head while I was packing up my shit. I had a lot of anger and a lot of rage at that point. Sorry, my legs are cramping up. I'm one-handed. I can't even pick up a dresser drawer, let alone throw it. But the dumbass cop believed him, and so I still have a domestic violence report on my record that should not be there. Yeah, I'm angry. Yeah, I've had issues in the past. I've been to anger management. I've gone to counseling. I'm on medication. I've done therapy. I've done all this. You know, there's one medication that really, really keeps me from being so angry anymore. Just one. One very simple, natural herb. Yeah. I smoke weed. I'm a very, very heavy cannabis smoker. I smoke anywhere between 5 and 8 bowls a day. But to be perfectly honest, without it, I probably wouldn't have my kids. I probably wouldn't have the boyfriend that I loved so much. Which, in that case, I probably wouldn't have had my daughter in the first place. I'm happy now. Well, I'm considerably happy. I smoke my bud. I don't smoke around my kids. My kids don't know I smoke. I don't smoke when my kids are awake. I don't smoke around my kids. I don't smoke in my home. I don't smoke. My kids don't know. All my stuff, all of my glass and all of my weed and everything are put away. It's all put away. I just dropped my lighter. Oh. So that would be the main reason why I'm in this trailer, is because I don't smoke in my house. Mind you, I have monitors in here for both my kids' bedrooms, so I can't hear them. In case you're wondering, or in case you're one of those assholes that decide that, oh, hey, no, parents shouldn't be smoking weed because that's stupid and that's a gateway drug. No. I do it very discreetly around my children. I don't smoke with my kids around. My kids don't see me smoke. They're 6 and 2. They don't need to know what this is. It's not needed for them. This right here takes care of so many medical needs for me and has me off of so much medication. So after I left Ben, I moved back out to Elk with my grandma for all intents and purposes. For about 3 months I lived with her, and then I moved out and moved in with my aunt again, my Aunt Terry and my mom. I met Evan online. I was really skeptical about meeting people online. I wasn't ready for it. I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I told myself at a very young age that I didn't want kids. I didn't want to do any drugs. I didn't want... I wouldn't trade any of it for the world. Evan and I have been together for 4 years. We birthed a beautiful, beautiful baby girl. She's 2 now, and she has got one attitude. She takes after her dad. My son is your typical 6-year-old. However, we do believe that he is fighting some serious anger issues and some possibly some ADHD. So I currently have him in therapy for that. I play billiards. Supposed to play 4 times a week, but apparently I'm not needed on my Wednesday team anymore. So I quit going. Wasn't the greatest team in the world to begin with, and I plan on quitting it in the summer anyway. In fact, during the summer I will be only on 1 team instead of 4. Be a huge pool tournament coming up. All 4 of my teams are in. I've got 1 team where we're qualified for both 8-ball and 9-ball to play at City Cup. And after City Cup, we go to Nationals, which is held in Las Vegas. Woohoo! Which is where we compete from APA players all around the nation, and even Canada and Japan. Billiards is another one of those stress breakers, stress relievers. It's the only reason I get out of the house. I don't leave my house. I'm too depressed. It's just... I don't know. There's nothing I don't need. Okay. This is a really sticky bud. So, I had some complications with my daughter. When I was pregnant with her, she was born with a duplicate renal artery in her kidney. I had to have her tested for spina bifida because little did I know it was genetic, and I currently have spina bifida. Mine is not as drastic or as bad as anybody else's. Mine's just a very small pin-sized hole in the center of my back. But they needed to check her anyway because it is genetic and it can be passed down. And it can also skip generations, so that kind of makes me a little nervous as well. Also, I was kept on very high alert because of my epilepsy, so I was having ultrasounds twice a week and stress tests twice a week because, apparently something with the ultrasound or something with the epilepsy and the placenta, and I'm not exactly sure. I know that with my epilepsy, you can actually hurt the baby because you shake and you fall and it sucks. So, there's a potential harm to the baby there, and I can understand that. So, I went to all my appointments. I did all my ultrasounds. I have pictures of every ultrasound she ever had. Skyler, he didn't need that much attention. He was healthy. He was a freaking healthy 9-pound, 6-ounce baby. And he hurt. I got lucky with my daughter. She was only 7'13". She did not hurt as bad. However, I did her without an epidural. However, with my epidural with my son, it still hurt. He was huge. He was big. So after my daughter was born, I decided that I was done. I did not want any more children. I went ahead and I got my tubes tied and I had an ablation done. I got the Esure for my tubal. It didn't work. I didn't get pregnant again, but it hurt more than anything. It caused me a lot of pain. So I also had the ablation done. Which, if you don't know what an ablation is where they take and they cauterize the inside of your uterus, and they take off that layer of they take off that top layer in there that actually holds the egg. They burn that off. Well, it's supposed to stop your periods. So without that needing to shed, you're not supposed to have a period. Well, mine didn't work. And instead of having a normal period, I was having 2, maybe even 3 a month. And they were heavy, and they sucked. Finally, after I think it was 6 months after my tubal, I went into my gynecologist and said, "There's something's got to be wrong. You said that these would subside, and they're not subsiding, and they're just getting worse." And she goes, "Okay, well, the ablation didn't work, and here's your options. You have the option of either having a hysterectomy, in which case she would take my cervix, my uterus, my fallopian tubes, leaving me my ovaries, thankfully." So I had the option of the hysterectomy or the option of possibly bleeding to death within the next couple of years, because I was bleeding so heavily, and it was more than once a month like a normal human. So I went ahead and done the obvious. I went and I had my hysterectomy, so now I can't have babies anymore. And I don't know if I want any more yet. I know that Evan and I have considered adoption. We've discussed it, and we will probably bring the topic back up once our kids are a little older. I was thinking about adopting overseas, but I kind of have that hard, what do you do? I mean, there's children that need parents overseas, but there's also plenty of children here in the U.S. that need parents too, that don't have parents, that have been neglected or abused. And, I really want to be able to help. To be perfectly honest, I want a child with maybe a physical or a mental disability, just so that they can be loved and held. I mean, when I was a kid, I was loved, and I was held, and I was pushed, and I could do anything that a normal person can do. So after my hysterectomy, it's just been me. Well, it's been about 45 minutes on this thing, and I'm really kind of out of stuff to talk about today. I really hope I get some people to actually listen to me and I don't know. Until next week, please go ahead and subscribe and like my page. I would really appreciate it. One of these days I'll learn how to go live, and we can go live and talk to each other, maybe. Alright, everybody. This is just a little about me. This is my very first vlog, so bear with me. I will talk to you all soon. I will probably do another vlog next Wednesday. Until then.